All right, guys. So we're checking out Fallow by the Weakerthans, and we're going to start with this first album. Pretty stoked about it. I think the Weakerthans, we've had several songs that are kind of pull out, and Chuck and I have reacted to, and I just feel like, honestly, it would be a good they'd be a good album band just to listen to all the way through. I could see them, even the songs I've heard that I'm like not a huge fan of, always end up falling close to average, not below average, if that makes sense. So definitely curious about this. And John K. Sampson, I believe, his solo album is like one of my faves. So I love the journey of that Winter Wheat album. So pretty stoked to dive into stuff that I probably should have already heard, but you know, it is what it is. We're going to get into it now. We're going to hit each track. We'll give it a rating. At the end, we'll average it out and see what my rating ends up being for the album. Let's get it. Chat sound off as we go through them. Let us know what you think too.
Morning bright, rise, go over your lines, iron your carefully crafted disguise. We'd all like to sing, it's easy to sigh, to sprinkle a handful of plausible lies. Our buildings will rise, poke out our own eyes, publicly smile and privately frown. A weeping reprise, please hear my cries. I'd like to pull just this one building down. So turn off the sky, head in my hands. Night keep me warm, white windowsill. Blinded by heart, cut my hair short. Eyeless in Gaza with the slaves at the mill.
All right. So that was the first track, Illustrated Bible Stories for Children. I'm going to dive into the lyrics here just a little bit before, we'll go with the song first. So very, very kind of a chill intro here. I like that it's almost formatted sort of like it's telling a story, but I don't know if it quite is or not. Morning bright rise, go over your lines, iron your carefully crafted disguise. We'd all like to sing, it's easy to sigh, to sprinkle a handful of plausible lies. Our buildings will rise, poke out your own eyes, publicly smile and privately frown. A weeping reprise, please hear my cries. I'd like to pull this one building down. So turn off the sky, head in my hands. Night keep me warm, white windowsill. Blinded by heart, cut my hair short. Eyeless in Gaza with the slaves at the mill. So it's almost like I don't know what I would call it, but it's like kind of telling a story, but it's almost a little bit more abstract lyrically. Like it's not nailing anything down, but it does bring like pictures to mind as you kind of go through, and maybe kind of I don't know, but it doesn't really like ring a bell to anything for me, and it doesn't really seem to be it almost comes off more like poetry, I guess, that first part does. I think I'm gonna go with a let's go 6-8. I'm gonna jot that down here. I'm gonna go 6-8 on that. I'd put that in playlist, so let's go. Thank you for that sippy, Silver. Diagnosis. Let's keep it going.
Sore back. I have a letter I can't send.
So, let's go back to that. I want to see the lyrics here. So first off, I will say that sounds a lot like, it sounds like something I would have heard from the very, very late 90s in this genre. But I will say there's a little bit more rawness and a lot more depth lyrically. So I'm always more of a fan, even if I don't understand. I like when lyrics have a little bit more, it's not streamlined, right? When you're writing something, you kind of have options to go with the most basic word possible when filling out, your well, here in this case it'd be lyrics, but whether you're writing a novel or whatever, like when you're writing sentences and paragraphs, you have the option to kind of go with more streamlined words to make things a little bit more understandable. And it feels like that was avoided with a lot of the writing thus far. And I always appreciate that. I have a headache. I have a sore back. I have a letter I can't send. I have desire. It falters and falls down. It calls you up drunk at 3 or 4 a.m. to wonder when wonderful. All the cheap tricks I tried too hard not to pulled along are pulled apart. The diagnosis of a foreign frame of heart. Like that whole line is like, so like it flows really, really, really nicely. I have a story that I'd like to tell you. It's littered with settings and a second takes. I have a feeling that hums with the street lights, hides under ice in the always frozen lakes. My mistake to make you cringe, another greeting like a broken creaky hinge, to oil and push or pry apart the diagnosis of a foreign frame of heart. Guys, are you fucking kidding me? Like, if you're a lyrics person, what more are you wanting from this? Like, for real. Found a cure for being sure, and sure as anything, I'll smile for my reckoning, oil and push, pry apart the diagnosis of a foreign frame of heart. Okay, so right off the rip, it has that sound that I grew up with. I'm a 90s kid. It kind of has that, I don't know what the hell you would call it, but again, like Matchbox 20, Jimmy Eats World, they'll kind of have this, it's like rock, but it's not quite rock. I always thought it was alternative, but people told me it's bubble grunge or whatever. That kind of area of music I really like, but I love the depth of the lyrics here. And there's a certain raw sound to this that kind of gives it its own flair. I'm going to go with an 8.2 here, and that's going to go in a playlist. Let me jot that down, and we'll jump to the next one here. 8.2. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so our next track, number 3 on this album, Confessions of a Futon Revolutionist.
Held like water in your shaking hands are all the small defeats the day demands. 10 to 6 or 9 to 5, trying, dying to survive, never knowing what survival means. Leave the apartment to buy alcohol. Hung our diplomas on the bathroom wall. Forgot the plaster chipped away. Space and stunning tooth decay. List academy impending class war. Let's lay our bad day down here. Let's make believe we're strong. Some protest song, like maybe we shall overcome someday. Overcome the stupid things we say. Say I needed more than this. Say I needed one more kiss. Left that light on way too long now. Let's plan to bomb at City Hall. Killing MLA. Talk the night away. You calling sick? I'll quit the word games that I play. Swear I weigh more than half, believe it when I say and somewhere love and justice shine. Cynicism falls asleep. Tyranny talks to itself. Sappy slogans all come true. We forget to feed our fears.
It's going further into a sound I enjoy. Lyrically, it just keeps on getting better and better. Like, and I did see Lost Motel. You said something about your favorite poet of all time, John K. Sampson. I did read some of his poetry, and damn, dude, it really was good. I was trying to get into poetry a little bit more because my buddy Aaron Wolf does a lot of poetry, and I struggle like a son of a gun to understand poetry. Imagine that, guys. But he's my buddy, so I got to give it a try. So I was checking out some different poets here and there to try to get a little bit more of an understanding of what the hell I was getting myself into. But yeah, wow, very, very nice. And dude, I have no complaints right now. Like, again, the lyrical depth here is just fantastic. Like, dude is using a little bit more complex words to flesh out what he's trying to say here, and I love that. Just gives it a little bit of that value of, like, I might not understand what's going on now, but on my like 20th, 30th listen, I'm gonna have an epiphany of what the hell's going on, potentially, or get my own gist of what this song means. Love it. Definitely, I actually think this one's better than the last one. I am going to go with a 8.9 here on this one. If you guys are weaker than haters, you're not going to want to be here for this. It's looking like, you know what I'm saying? So it's shaping up to be a good one. None of the above.
Restaurant North Kildonan. Lukewarm coffee tastes like soap. I trace your outline in spilled sugar. Killing time and killing hope. This brand new strip mall chews on farmland as we fish for someone to blame. We communicate in questions, and all our answers sound the same. Under sputtering fluorescence, after refills are refilled, negotiations at a standstill, spoon and rolling saucer stilled. You ask how I got so bitter, I'll ask how you got so vain. And all our questions blur together. The answers always sound the same. We can't look at one another. I'll say something thoughtful soon, but I can't listen to the quiet, so I hum this mindless mindless tune I stole from some dumb country rock star. And I don't even know his name. It's like my stupid little question. The answers always sound the same. Tell me why I have to miss you so. Tell me why we sound so lame. Why we communicate in questions and all our answers sound the same.
The peaks and valleys of this album already are just fantastic. Like, I love the starts off slow. We pick it up for like 2 songs. Then we're going to drop it back down slow. And it's got some soulful guitar there at the end. Really, really nice. And I was just kind of just vibing, you know? All night, I got to dive into these lyrics because I didn't take in a drop, I'll be honest. Just the sound of this song was fantastic. All night restaurant, North Kildonan. Where the hell is North Kildonan at, guys? Anybody know? Lukewarm coffee. I'm assuming Canada somewhere, right? That would make sense since the band is probably from there. Lukewarm coffee tastes like soap. I trace your outlines spilled in first of all, that was the worst line of the whole thing. Lukewarm coffee tastes like soap. From right there, I was like, where are we going with this? And then it was all good from there. So, but I the next line, I was like, okay, I see, I can envision this happening, right? I trace your outline in spilled sugar, killing time and killing hope. As brand new strip mall chews on farmland. As we fish for someone to blame, but we communicate in questions and all our answers sound the same. God damn. That whole thing right there was just fantastic. As brand new strip mall chews on farmland. Anyone that's lived rural knows, like, this conversation happens quite a bit. It's like always like, oh no, they're taking over the farmland. And, as we fish for someone to blame, but we communicate in questions and all our answers sound the same. Under sputtering fluorescence after dude, it just hitting my Midwestern soul right now, guys. That's what it's doing. Under sputtering fluorescence after refills are refilled. Negotiations at a standstill. Spoon and rolling saucer stilled. If you ask how I got so bitter, I'll ask how you got so vain. And all our questions blurred together, the answers always sound the same. We can't look at one another. I'll say something thoughtful soon, but I can't listen to the quiet, so I'll hum this mindless tune. I stole from a dumb country rock star, and I don't even know his name. It's like my stupid little questions. The answers always sound the same. Tell me why I have to miss you so. Tell me why we sound so lame. Why we communicate in questions and all our answers sound the same. This is going to get a 9, okay? Just off of the writing and the sound, because I was just vibing. That's going to get a flat 9. This is my favorite one so far off of this album. God damn. That one just sang to my Midwestern soul, guys. But yes, first off, I also really like the placement here. Again, where we come out of 2 rather songs that have a little bit more energy, and we're going into like just a really like lyrically like deep track that just sends out a bunch of soul, and I like the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys. I'm always there for that. Number 5 is Letters of Resignation. Let's go in there. Joel, the smile on your face throughout each track so far says it all. Yeah, dude, seriously. But we're only 4. I shouldn't get excited here, be too excited, because we're only 4 in. I always find one. I always find one on an album I hate. It's got to be coming up soon. Letters of Resignation.
Takes a dried up ballpoint, lemon juice and water, keeps a diary visibly in the kitchen corner of a basement bachelor suite. There's a certain search for certainty, no, we'll never see. Her hands touch childhood home in photos that she took. There's one more mission from a high school history book. Our whole lives get knifed and pushed aside. To whom it may concern, there's a bus that's leaving half an hour from now. It won't take her where she really wants to go. So she sits there with her luggage at her side in the empty stations of our empty lives. Take a broken bottle, take a rafter beam, or take a needle and a tarnished spoon, or just words to kill off one more unheard statement of another dying afternoon. She says she's leaving soon. So long, 10-hour shifts and faking sympathies. Farewell, piles of bills, unpaid utilities, all rolled up and unfurled like a flag. Wake up and pack your bag. To whom it may concern, there's a bus that's leaving half an hour from now. It won't take her where she really wants to go. So she sits there with her luggage at her side, leaving empty stations, leaving empty lives.
All right, so this one starts off with a little more energy. Still had some nice peaks and valleys in the song itself, where it slows down, kind of picks back up. The woman that kept coming in singing in the background, she like came and went. She was at the very beginning and then at the very end of the song. It was like I enjoyed the swap up that her voice brought, but I don't know if I was an exact fan of her backing vocals there. But this song is still a really nice vibe. This one's going to be a 6.8 for me. Yeah, that feels right. Letters of Resignation, 6.8. Not a bad tune yet. Let's go to Leash.
Had one of those days when you wanna try that, show me the scar that you got when you fell off your bike. Ask me the questions you never want answers to. We can rewrite them however we like. Maybe someday the lies we've led around will crawl under our beds and sleep off the years. Lopsided grin. Leave the dirt and dead flowers in a brown coffee tin. Let your hand melt a hole in the frost. Peer out under a sky that looks just like a shirt I lost someday. The lies we've led around will crawl under our beds, sleep off the years, sleep off those years.
Okay. Okay, so you'll have to guess the lyrics. That's what it says. Okay, well, that's not great. So first of all, I'm going to give them perks here because this is definitely the most experimental track out of the bunch so far, and quite the middle of an album kind of breaks the tenseness. It's like, hey, we're just going to throw in an experimental track here. And like the guitars in this were very like everything. It was almost like droning, if that makes sense. And there were some really odd instrumental things happening there that almost gave off this really trippy effect. So as an experience, I do actually like that I listened to this song in like a reaction form, especially with these bad boys on. But as a song itself, this one's going to be on the negative side for me. It's going to be around a 4. Not a fan of the overall droning like cadence of this one, if that makes sense. I don't think it's I like the placement of it though, personally. Like I said, right in the middle of this album, it kind of breaks that tenseness of like, ooh, are we going to get a bad one? It was more of an experimental one rather than bad, I would say. And I like that for that mid-album placement. Let's see where it picks up at number 7. Whoa, number 7. And number 7.
The night's still a permanent stain. The city soaks in silence, salt and dirty snow. Blue glow from the TV again. Curtains never open, faces never show. And every time the light is turned on, there's a light that's turned off somewhere. And every other moment it's lost. There's a perfect cost. There's a debt you can't share. Clock stopped at the corner of Alvaro Show. Last bus left an hour ago. So stumble down the stairs again. Pretend you're not too proud to understand. It's still no end. Your voice cuts through the crowd. Only people talk too loud. city soaks inside in salt and dirty snow. Blue glow from the TV again. Curtains never open, faces never show. And every night they play the same song to the same offbeat believers. And everyone is singing along, wearing blue black eyes, wearing dead men's neckties. Clock stop at the corner of Albertville show. Your life must have been an hour ago. So stumble down the stairs again. Pretend you're not too proud to understand. There's still no end. Your voice cuts through the crowd. Lonely people talk too loud. Numbers on a washroom stall. There's always more than one last call calling you. Oh, you got blue eyes, oh, you got green eyes, oh, you got gray eyes. Oh, you got blue eyes, oh, you got green eyes, oh, you got gray eyes. Oh, you got blue eyes, oh, you got green eyes, oh, you got gray eyes. Oh, you got blue eyes, oh, you got green eyes, oh, you got gray eyes.
Okay, so hold on. Excuse me, guys. This is what I'm thinking. The first half of the song, lyrically, oh my god, I was in love. I was like, this is how we bounce back. First of all, this is how we bounce back from an experimental track. You have one that you're like really proud of right next, and just bam, right back at it. That's how it should be done on an album, in my opinion. So lyrically, though, that first half is just fantastic. I'm not going to lie. I started around the eyes part there at the end. I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm a big fan of this area of the song, but they actually changed my mind with the instrumental pickup that they kind of had there right at the end of the repetition of the, blue eyes, green eyes, and gray eyes part. They had this really nice pickup to end the song, and I really, really liked how they swung that. So, this is gonna be hard to rate, man. I'm gonna go flat 8 here. It's gonna go in a playlist as well. This is good stuff. This is just good stuff. Great vibes too. Enjoying it. Ren, welcome. Let's see. The next one is going to be the last one, which isn't the last one, but it's number 8.
You always stole all my last words. Here's no exception, and one more for me to send, and nothing happens in the end. I'm thinking of you less, more concerned, more is less. I guess it doesn't matter now. Maybe we'll never go insane. You always said we would. Sometimes I wished we could, with you lying naked in the rain and singing Boney M, cutting down all our old friends. I talk to them again now. So here's the last one I have left. We fell a little deep. I watched you fall asleep, and nothing happens in the end. But I remember when I could remember when. Seems like a long time ago.
This one was another kind of experimental, instrumental type track here. I mean, for the most part, it's kind of on par with what we've seen, you know, vocally and lyrically from the rest of this album. But instrumentally, about midway through the track, old boy decided to hit that little drummer boy, a rumpa-bum-bum, dude. Started going to town. I liked the kind of background. Weirdly, it clashed, but it went together at the same time, like really nicely. So I find that impressive. On top of that, I liked everything else I was hearing. Might not be a banger per se, but kind of a nice somber song to have just playing in the background, and also kind of adds to the feel of this album. Let's go with a flat 6 on this one. You know what? Nope. You know what? We're gonna go 6.4. That still gonna go on a playlist for sure. That just might not get as many spins, but I do like the experimentalness of that drum there in the background, doing things it shouldn't be doing. Though I do feel like that would be a good last track. That might be a complaint. I feel like that would be a good last track, but let's see where it goes from there, because I feel like it's telling me a story. I just don't know what's going on, right? This next one's Greatest Hits Collection.
Not so I'll know you're still there, half listening, interpreting the air, full of failing foreign tongue. My dialect of stammer come undone. I've got these threads of you and I used to tie my doubts down and from 4 time zones away. Still yesterday, still talking to the past from the front seat of your car. Gravel road and falling hands and falling stars, start the engine up like a new identity, a pseudonym, some plastic surgery, just some way to disappear, someone to write me out of here. I hear you hum an unfamiliar song, thought maybe you would come along, perhaps you'd like to see some piece of this. My new philosophy is that a crappy tape deck somewhere plays the greatest hits collection. Strange and tender moments, lost, stranded and forgotten. I'll need can't find a way to make this mark more clear. So crack your skull before you weep, and I'll try to keep some part of me sincere.
That was Greatest Hits Collection. That was number 9. So I, first off, really liked the kind of just bouncy instrumental there. Kind of had a little bit more of a, I want to say, traditional rock and roll type feel to it. The only thing I have to complain about, which is, I'm not really going to complain, but I will say that vocally there were some aspects I wasn't a huge fan of, just sounded a little too nasally, and some of the ways the vocals flowed in this one didn't quite do it for me. I don't think it's a bad song. I'm gonna listen to it again. It's gonna go into a playlist, but this one's gonna be closer to a actually I'm gonna keep this, I'm gonna do an exact, that's gonna be 6.4 for me as well. We're gonna go with the 6.4 there. Second net, 6.2. Sorry, doubting my own ratings, guys. Doubting my own ratings. Sounds familiar? Number 10. Where's Chuck at when I have a good pun like that? You know what I mean?
We emerged from youth all wide-eyed like the rest, shedding skin faster than skin can grow, and armed with hammers, feathers, blunt knives, words to meet and to define and to, but you must know. The same games that we played in dirt, in dusty schoolyards, have found a higher pitch and broader scale than we feared possible. Someone must be picked last, and one must bruise, and one must fail. And that still twitching bird was so deceived by a window, so we eulogized fondly. We dug deep and through its elegant plumage and frantic black eyes in a hole, and then rushed out to kill something new so we could bury that too. The first chapters of lives almost made us give up altogether, push towards tired forms of self-immolation that seem so original. We must never stop watching the sky with our hands in our pockets, stop peering in windows when we know doors are shut, stop yelling small stories and bad jokes and sorrows, and my voice will scratch to yell many more. But before I spill the things I mean to hide away, or gouge my eyes with platitudes of sentiment, I'll drown the urge for permanence and certainty, crouch down and scrawl my name with yours in wet cement.
Another one with a Midwestern vibe. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm a sucker for that. I am a sucker. Come around to like fall, like harvest time and stuff. This is gonna be just it's gonna be playing a lot. And lyrically, this is just absolutely S tier. This whole album, honestly, is just really, really, really good writing. So I'm a fan, to say the least. We're gonna go with I'm gonna go flat 8 on that one. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, flat 8. Damn, this is really a really nice album so far. Really nice. All right, Anchorless and Fallow. So I'm curious how we're gonna go with the outro here. We're slowing down. Are we gonna have another pickup? I'm thinking we are. I'm gonna if I'm gonna guess here, we're gonna have a nice picked up song here, a little more energy with Anchorless, and then I bet Fallow, being about 5 minutes, is gonna be kind of a, well, obviously it's gonna be an outro song. I don't know, but I'm gonna guess this next one is a little more. The next track, Anchorless, originally showed up in 1996 on Propaganda's Less Talk, More Rock. But since John wrote it, he ended up re-recording it for Fallow. Is it? Oh my God, Fallow. After leaving Prop. Wow. Okay, that's actually really, really cool. I'm excited to check this out. I think what we're going to have to do here, though, the original is Propaganda. I'm assuming. I want to hear their version first, just out of curiosity. Okay, right there. Let's Talk More Rock. Got it. Anchorless. Let's check this out, and then I want to see what John did with it, just for fun.
They called here to tell me that you're finally dying through a veil of childish cries.
Oh, John's on vocals as well.
Southern Manitoba, prairies pulling at the pant leg of your bad disguise. So why were you so anchorless? A boat abandoned in some backyard. Anchorless, small town that you lived and died in. Got an armchair from your family home. Got your PG Woodhouse novels and your telephone. Got your plates and stainless steel. Got that way of never saying what you really feel. So anchorless, a boat abandoned in some backyard. Anchorless, small town that you lived and died in. Don't wanna live and die here. Don't wanna live and die here where we're anchorless. A boat abandoned in some backyard. Anchorless. Small towns that we live and die in.
Okay, that's easily in the 8s, easily going in a playlist. Very cool to hear John doing something a little more punk-like, so that's pretty dope. Now let's go back to Fallow here and hit Anchorless on this one. I'm really curious to see what he would do to change this. Is it still going to be a little more upbeat? Going to be more somber? You know, like, let's we got a little mini verses here, guys. It's a inner album verses, apparently. See what you guys think is better, the original right there we just listened to by Propaganda, or the Weakerthans.
They called here to tell me that you're finally dying through a veil of childish cries. Southern Manitoba, so anchorless. A boat abandoned in some backyard, anchorless. A small town that you lived and died in. Shoebox full of photos, found a grainy mirror, sunken cheeks and slender hands, grocery lists and carbon copied letters offer silence for my small demands. Hey, how'd you get so anchorless? A boat abandoned in some backyard, anchorless. Small town that you lived and died in. Got an armchair from your family home. Got your PG Woodhouse novels and your telephone. Got your plates in stainless steel. Got that way of never saying what you really feel. So anchorless, boat abandoned in some backyard, anchorless. The small town that you lived and died in. Don't live and die here. Don't live and die here. Where we're anchorless. 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 The small towns that we live and die in.
All right. So for me, this is an easy victory for the Weakerthans just because of the expanded lyrical depth and the just the entire song itself it just sounds like something I grew up with. I can see a lot of different bands that I'm a fan of, like in the sound here as well. And obviously this came a lot earlier than some of those bands. So it's like very cool to, I don't know, man, like this, I would go with, okay, so the Propaganda version, I'd go with a flat 8. Let's just say that. This is going to be more of an 8.4 for me, but I just like the way the whole thing runs through. It just sounds like a really nice 90s radio song, but at the same time, the depth with the lyrics, like in the verses, are just fantastic. So I'm gonna go with an 8.5 on this one for sure. Let me type that into my phone here, and then we're gonna hit this final song, guys. While we're going through this final song, I would love to hear your guys' guess on where you think this album will fall for me on average. Fallow.
stars to show. Try so hard not to remember what all empty playgrounds know. Sympathy is cruel. Reluctant jester, simpering fool. 6 feet off the highway, our bare legs stung with wheat. We'll dig a hole and bury all we could not defeat, and say that we'll stay for one more year. Bend a tight shoelace, or bend against your fear, and say that you'll stay for one more year. So much left to seek. The lease runs out next week.
Okay. That one was a lot more somber than I expected on the outro. It is a really nice ending to the album. I don't know if I'd put this in a playlist though. I am impressed with the lyrical depth, but the I don't know, it just went on a little too long, I think. Maybe that's just my ADHD. But I do like the overall sound, and the depth lyrically again was just, it's unmatched. So take that into note. But I think I'll probably go with where are we gonna go here? With that one, we're gonna go with a 5.4. 5.4 for that. Let me throw these all together. I am using a calculator. You aren't going to try to see me come up with the average for this. It's not going to happen. So, got 6.8, 4, and I'm going to include the propaganda rating in there as well because it deserves it. Whatever boost it gives, right? 6.4. 9 was a 6.2. 6.2. 10 was an 8. Followed by that propaganda 8. 11 was an 8.5. And then a 5.4. And just to be clear, I am not disappointed at all with a track on this album, regardless of its rating. I tried to rate them individually. However, I will say that I really, 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 really like the placement for Leash, regardless of my feelings of it. I think that is like one of the smartest spots for that track, because I feel like you would have a super weak back half if it was further on. Like I feel like especially if it was like towards the end, it would just not flown right. But I like the whole flow, that like the ebb and flow of this album was really nice. Like it went nice and slow, picked it up for a little bit, nice and slow. We'll get a little experimental, pick it up. They just kept going. You know what I mean? So that's fantastic. Now we have a 7.9 for this album as a whole. Shout out to my chat for kind of voting to make this album happen. Weakerthans are a band I've been wanting to get into more as is. So excited to kind of delve in. And I didn't really have high hopes being their first album. I feel like bands kind of have, there's obviously exceptions to this, but a lot of bands seem to have a kind of rough first album, and then they start, kind of getting their feel for things. So, definitely enjoyable. Lost Motel said, my only teeny tiny complaint with Fallow is it does fade a bit on the second half, whereas their other albums are super strong start to finish. I do agree with that. I think the latter half was, but just slightly, a little off kilter for the album, but it was not a lot of albums, man. Like a lot of my albums that I grew up listening to as a child, like they have like 4 good songs on it, and then it'd be spotty, and then you'd have another banger towards the end, and then it'd be spotty for a while. So 2 songs that are even close to average is just fine. So, that was Rad Joel. Thanks for doing that. I knew all those saved up pyro points would come in handy someday. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this more random, but I kind of do enjoy doing this. I don't listen to whole albums enough. So, yeah, that's the beauty of punk. All killer, no filler. Hell yeah, guys. Let's